All righty. Want to say thanks again coming back in for our Wednesday boot camp. Quinn, health fitness specialist with Exercise at Autodesk. So we're going to go ahead and get started. First thing we're going to do is our side-to-side lunges. So we're going to get our feet a little bit wider than hip width, and we're just going to fall down to one side, bending one knee, stretching into this left leg here for me, maybe right leg there for you. But we're just going to kind of oscillate back and forth between sides at a gentle, even pace, stretching in to the legs here, really loading that leg as we bend down and extending back up. Okay, good. We're going to get a few more here. Nice, even pace on either side. And moving on. Next up, we're going to stay in that same hip width position. Going to get our arms out wide, and we're just reaching down to the opposite toe, keeping that hand extended up behind us, not falling off to the side, but staying nice and rigid in that T position as we move back and forth. Kind of snapping back up into that star position, and then going back down. Getting a nice rotation through the lower back. Few more. And moving on. Next up, we've got zombie kicks. So standing nice and tall, feet close together. You're going to bring your hands out in front of you and just kick straight up. Trying to bring that toe to the tip of your finger. Stretching into the back side of the leg a little bit there. Keeping that back nice and tall. Chest up and out. Keeping our weight back on the heels. Oh, a little off balance there. Got to try and maintain that balance as we move through. And next one. Okay. Next up, we're just going to do some quad pulls. Okay. So I'm going to bring my foot behind me, reaching down, grabbing the foot, and I'm going to pull that foot into my hip and extend my opposite arm up, bringing the leg back down, and switching sides. So getting that same sort of even pace that we've had. Switching sides and extending the arm up as we reach. Good. Let's get a few more here. And moving on. Good. And we're just going to do some arm circles here, start warming up the shoulders a little bit more. So we're going to get our arms out wide in that T shape, feet about hip width, and we're just going to go small forward circles, very small, very quick, a little gentle, trying to pull those shoulders back in towards the spine, keeping that chest up, and we're going to get bigger and bigger with our arms here. And bigger, okay? And we're gonna switch directions, staying big, staying real nice and big as we go the opposite way. And smaller and smaller, really warming up all the muscles there in the rotator cuff. And finally all the way to a standstill. All right, last one of our little warm up. It's just going to be a squat up to heel tap and up. So squatting, bringing that opposite heel to that hand, tapping down, getting moving nice and quick. Starting to get the blood flowing a little bit more before we get through our boot camp routine here. Got a few more. Getting nice and low into that squat. And moving on. Okay, for our first circuit here, we're going to start down on our mat area. Okay, we're going to be laying on our back. We've got glute bridges. So we're going to bring our feet flat on the floor, knees up, hands down by the hips, and we're going to drive the hips up toward the ceiling, holding for about 5 seconds. And then we're going to bring the hips slowly down, tap, and back up for a hold. Trying to activate our glutes, get our hips nice and mobile, starting to warm up the backside of the leg. Get everything working together here. Good. We'll get a couple more in. Good, last one. And down. Now we're flipping over. We've got kickbacks. So we're gonna be on our hands and knees here. As we're in this position, we're gonna keep our knee bent and kick the heels straight up behind us. Starting with just one side for 30 seconds here. We're gonna kick up, trying to get that foot directly behind the head as we move through here. Trying to keep your weight between your hands on the ground and your knee there, so you're not getting your weight too much on the one side. Got a few more seconds here. Getting those hips firing and switch sides. Keep going at the same even pace. Trying to keep those hips square with the shoulders. And driving that heel up. Good. Few more seconds. Nice even pace and rest. Good. Now we're popping back up onto our feet very quickly. We've just got 30 seconds of air squats. Ready and go. Getting those hips nice and low. Extending the hands out as we go down and back in as we come up. Got your feet about hip width apart. Trying to pay attention to how those knees are moving. They're not shaking too far in or out, but directly over the toes as you come down and back up. And rest. Next up, we've got push-ups. So we're gonna go down to the ground here. I'm gonna do these on my knees because I like to go real nice and slow and really feel the movement as I do it and control what I'm doing. So crossing my feet behind me, hands directly below the shoulders, and I'm gonna fold the elbows in, down, real nice and slow. I got about a 4 count. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I press back up so I can really feel that contraction through the chest as I'm coming down, really trying to stabilize everything as we're working here. Got a few more seconds. Let's get 2 more in. 2, good. All right, next up, we just got a 30-second plank, and then we're back at the top with those glute bridges. So as my feet go out, my knees come up. I'm pressing my body away from the ground with my elbows. I'm tucking the belly button up towards the spine, holding nice and rigid. Got a flat back here. Nice and engaged. Keeping that body up, pressing away. We got a few more seconds here. Keep it going. And rest. Good. We're gonna go right back to it, laying on our back, getting those feet flat on the floor, hands down by the hips, and we're gonna press through the heels, extending the hips up to the ceiling, holding, staying up, and down, tap, as we come up. Good, and down, up. We got a few more in here. Down and up. Giving a quick tap, shooting right back up. Last one, down, up. Good. Really driving those hips up, keeping your body in a nice line from the shoulder to the knees. And come down, good. Next up, we have our glute kickback. So we're flipping over onto our hands and knees, wrists directly below the shoulders, knees below the hips, and we're kicking back, bringing that heel behind the head. As we come up, getting that foot behind, really kicking up, getting into those glutes there. Let's go, got a few more seconds. We're going to switch sides. And switch. Getting that other knee up off the ground. Kicking that leg back behind the head. Trying to keep the hips level. So I'm not opening up my hip as I come up with the heel, but keeping those hips nice and flat as we work through the motion here. A few more seconds. 2, 1, good. Now we're up for our air squats. So getting the feet hip width apart, driving the hips back, knees come out over the toe, and we're extending the hands out as we come down and back in as we come up. Pay attention to the way that your knees are moving here. If you're starting to see them wobble and wiggle as you come down, try slowing down your movement so that they stay nice and stable and move evenly together instead of being unstable and uncoordinated. Control the movement pattern you guys have been working on here. Got a few more. And rest. Good, now we're back down to the mat for our push-ups. So hands below the shoulders. I'm gonna stay on my knees again. We're gonna go a nice, slow 4 count. Down, elbows tucked into the ribs, down by the hips, and press up. And again, nice, easy, slow count all the way down to the ground. Keeping those shoulders away from the ears, elbows tucking towards the hips, staying tight to the ribs. Nice and controlled movement here as we're pressing down and up. Hands working together to push the ground away from the body. Last one. And good. Now we have our forearms down. We've got a 30-second plank. Let's get those feet back, knees up, core tucked and tight, sucking the belly button up to the spine, getting those hips level with the shoulders, and pressing the ground away from you with your forearms. Staying nice and high off the ground as we sit here for a few more seconds, really trying to work together through this movement. Good, and down. Awesome job. All right, we're going to start our second circuit. We're going to work a little bit more with the back and the shoulders. So we're going to start first off with our hands out in front. Actually, sorry. We're going to have our hands kind of up to the side here at a 90-degree angle. Okay, so I'm laying down on my chest. I got my arms out, and I'm going to bend my elbows up so my hands are at a 90 degree from my shoulder. And I'm going to pop up into my Superman's Holding my elbows and my wrists up high, keeping those shoulders pulled down towards the hips, and come down. And we're gonna go up again. Holding nice and high, getting that chest up off the ground, and down, up again. Holding, and down, up. Get that chest up off the floor. Pulling up, and down. One more, up. Holding, holding, and down. All right, now we're gonna go into some squatting IYTs, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna extend the arms out into different positions so that we can engage a lot of the back muscles of the shoulder here. We're gonna do so from a squatting position, so I want you guys to get down. The first one is gonna be I. So we're gonna go straight up. The next one's gonna be a Y. So you're gonna come out at a 45 degree. And the third one is gonna be a T. You're coming straight out to the side. Okay, so I, straight up. Y, 45. T, straight out to the side. All while we're holding that squatting position the whole time. Good. I like to point my thumbs up and behind me, just as a reminder to really get those shoulders back and behind. Got a few more here. Last one. And good, nice job. Next up, we have a split squat. So we're gonna get 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. If I can keep my balance here. 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. We're gonna come down into a nice 90-degree position. So today we're just gonna be working in 90 degrees. So you can see from my hip out to my knee and my knee down to my foot, I've got a nice 90 degree in both legs. We want to work within that range right there, working on loading this front leg into that 90-degree position and back up. Go ahead and switch legs. So now I've got my left foot forward and we're going to go straight down into that 90-degree position, working on loading that front leg and driving up through the toes and the heel. Using the midpoint of the foot to balance out the weight. Got a few more seconds here. Good. And we're going on to the next one. All right. We've got shoulder taps next. So I want you to put your hands down on the ground. We're going to get our feet out a little bit wide. So probably a little bit wider than your hips. So you're nice and stable here. And then we're going to alternate right hand up to left shoulder, left hand up to right shoulder. Getting a nice working pace, not shifting our hips too much side to side. So keep that weight spread through the hands and the feet as we switch our hands going up onto one hand each. You want to keep that weight nice and stable. Challenge your core a little bit. We got a few more seconds. And done. Good. Next up, we just got a side plank. So we're going to pop down onto the side here, get our feet out extended, and pop the hips straight up, putting our weight onto the elbow, having our elbow directly below the shoulder. So all in one line. Keep the body up here. You can also bring the feet out a little bit wider to get more stability, or you can bring the weight down onto your knees and just keep yourself up with the knees and the feet kind of tucked behind you. Got about 5 more seconds here. And we're switching sides. Good. So keeping those hips up, nice and flat, one line through the shoulders all the way to the heels. Really engaging the side of that torso, side of the body, using those obliques. Okay, a few more seconds, and relax. Good. Next up, we're starting back at the top. So we got those Supermans down on our stomach, hands out to the side, elbows bent at 90. We're gonna pick the hands up, holding, staying up, nice and tall, chest up off the ground, back down, and up, staying nice and tall, keeping that chest up off the ground, as you come down, back up, keeping our hands up at that 90 degrees, and down, back up, and down, up. Good. One more, up, and down. All right, popping straight up from the ground. We're gonna get into the squatting IYTs. So, feet about hip width apart. We're gonna squat down, hands up, straight up, in front, over the head, for the I, going 45 for the Y, and then out to the side for the T's. Let's go, about 20 seconds here. We're gonna keep working hard. You wanna pull the shoulders away from your ears, keeping them nice and low, not creeping up towards our earlobes and our head there. Holding that squat the whole time, weight on the heels, not loading the toes. Good. And rest. Awesome. Next up, we got our split squats. So getting 1 foot forward, coming down into that 90-degree squat from the hip to the knee, down to the foot. Nice, 90 degrees through both legs. Loading that front foot, keeping the weight even between the toes and the heel, finding that midpoint to carry your weight with. Got a few more seconds. Keep it up. And switch legs. Good. So down into that 90. Working in a good pace. Keeping the body moving the whole time. Almost done here, last 5 minutes, keep working hard. Last couple squats here. And rest. We're going down to the mat. We've got our shoulder taps. So as the feet come back, knees come off the ground, you can get your feet a little bit wider than the hips, so you're nice and stable, and we're alternating side to side, opposite hand to shoulder. Nice even pace, keep working here, try and get that back flat, and your hips and your torso moving very minimally. Got a few more seconds here. And we're down from the side plank. Ready, popping onto our elbow, forearm down to the ground, feet extended out, and we're up. Pressing the ground away from you with that elbow and forearm, keeping those hips up into the air, staying nice and upright. Keeping one line from the shoulder all the way down through to the ankles. Keep those hips up. 5 more seconds here, keep going. And switch sides, flipping over. Stay nice and upright through our side plank. Keeping that weight over the shoulder, over the elbow, pushing the ground away from you as you keep those hips up. And rest. Good. Next up, we have our, what do we have? Oh, sorry. We're gonna finish off with a little bit of abs and a little bit of stretching. All right, so we're gonna lay flat on our back for some leg lifts and get your feet, or your hands right below your hips and your feet out extended. So you have your hands below your hips and you're gonna bring both feet up off the floor and nice and slow down. Really controlling the movement, using all the activation of your core instead of the momentum of your legs. Trying to keep your back nice and flat on the ground as you move here. Got a few more seconds. And feet down. Good. Last one we're going to do before we stretch out a little bit is dead bugs. So we've got our feet up in the air, knees bent. We're going to extend opposite hand and leg out, gently tapping the floor and coming back up. You're not dropping the weight of your feet or your hands, but again, nice and slow and in control of the movement. Got a few more seconds. Good. Keep going, guys. Just finishing out. Last little exercise here. Couple more. And done. Rest. Good. Nice job, everybody. All right. So the stretch we're going to do, finish things off, is the lizard pose. We're going to get our foot out in front. I got my left foot out. You can keep your knee down or you can pop the knee up. But let's just try and keep it down for now. And bring the forearms down to the ground. So you should be feeling that stretch in the hip of the leg that is forward. Starting to get that mobility through the glutes and the inner thigh as well. Trying to drop the hips down and kind of press the weight forward as you get lower and lower into the stretch. Go ahead and switch legs. Bring that other foot forward. Forearms back down to the ground. And drop the hips. Taking nice deep breaths. And back up. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, popping into today's session. Hope you had a fun time. I know I did. Make sure you hop into our stretch breaks Monday through Thursday at 11 a.m. And also I've got my abs and core tomorrow at 4:30 and functional fitness Friday at noon on Fridays. If there's any other classes that you would like to see if you can make, sure you guys know, check out the keep up the good work, and I'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, Quinn. Have a good day.